welcome to the Sunshine Sound Podcast with your host, Christine Matthias.
A group of bands seems stronger to me than one band. So rather than doing it on, that's the role I see a record label having. I think of it more as a family of people. Like I've known him since the 7th grade, and so I'm putting out his music. There's other people that I've known just as long, and or maybe less, maybe a lot less, but I still feel this connection to them beyond just, oh, you're a band on my label. You know, I think of it as like a family.
Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of the Sunshine Sound Podcast. So today's podcast is all about music videos, record labels, and kind of the role of community in creativity. So it was really great. It was fun to talk to people who have these really big ideas and then hearing about that kind of messy process of turning those dreams into reality. So I hope you enjoy this one. We had a lot of laughs, and I left feeling really inspired and more connected. So I hope you do too. Enjoy. Thanks, guys, for coming to the studio on this Saturday afternoon.
Thanks for having me.
Really happy to be here.
Sure. So in the studio today, I have R.C. Krueger and Moses Constable. So I met these guys at an event that Sunshine Sound Center put on, the music video Extravaganza. So what that was is we invited people to submit music videos, artists from all over San Diego. We showed those videos, and then at the end of the night, the people voted on their favorite video, which was Moans Body Type, which yay, which RC directed, and Moses is in Moans,
Moses is Moans.
Moses is Moans. So we'll talk about that. So how did you guys meet?
Oh,
I'll let you
okay.
take this one.
Well, I just read this article in Trans World Skateboarding magazine, and there's this guy, Chad Muska, who was kind of a joke in like the 90s. He was like, would do, he would do everything like with a boombox. He looked like a joke. But I read this article, and I had this like newfound respect for the dude. I thought he was really awesome. And then I went to class. I was in school at the time. And there was this guy wearing like skateboard shoes and a skateboard shirt.
7th grade, by the way.
It's in the 7th grade.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, dude, you skateboard? I skateboard. Like, I just read about Chad Muska, and he loves like ollies. And we talked about that, and he kind of made fun of me because he still thought Chad Muska was a joke. Yeah. But there wasn't a whole lot of skateboarders around, so we just ended up being together.
Pretty instant friends. And then we've been friends ever since.
Yeah. Like nice. 20 years, I think we've been.
There's a couple more as well that we've known each other for that long.
That's awesome. So have you guys been like making music videos and stuff that whole time?
Totally. Well, in high school we did a lot. In high school we got big into film stuff.
Yeah.
And
actually had a 2-hour long skateboard / like sketch comedy. Or not literally sketch comedy, but we made a video, like a set, 2 hours long that we ended up selling in high school. And
we're kind of little entrepreneurs.
We made enough money to buy stickers. RC bought a lot of Del Taco with the money that we made.
For everybody.
Nice.
So that kind of started it, actually.
So was that in San Diego?
Yeah. We grew up North County.
Oh, nice.
So like Escondido-ish, a small place called Valley Center. I don't know if you know what that is.
So even before we were playing music, we were kind of making things together.
Yeah, and then after that, I went to film school, and I did
cool.
that whole thing. And then I came back here, and we were playing. Well, I guess what happened with me, anyway, is I went to school, and I met people in film school that I would play music with, which kind of happens. And so I started playing in bands and getting interested in that kind of thing. And, you know, like a movie, you need like a lot of money to do, and it's like a big thing. But like if you're in a band, you could just like go on tour right now.
Right.
So it became more immediate. It became like, let's do that. And so I kind of went down this whole rabbit hole of music, and like I said, played in bands, toured, that kind of thing. And I started Villains around that time. It was like I just had all these great bands around me, all this, these bands that I genuinely loved. It's like, well, it's a shame that these are just like little bands that no one will really be able to hear. And I kind of had the idea of like grouping it together and calling it something and releasing bands that way. Just completely DIY. Like originally it would be like screen printing CD cases where like one guy holds the screen down and the other guy prints it, like completely like DIY stuff. And it just kind of grew from there. And I got interested in actually being in the music industry. And I started interning and doing that kind of thing. And I actually ended up, that was because I went to school in Los Angeles and I came back to San Diego and because I started working for Surf Dog Records, which is Encinitas label. And I worked there for a while. And I guess, sorry if I'm long-winded.
Oh, but, no, it's great.
So I did that, and then I got pretty deep into that and worked on some cool things. But it occurred to me one day, like, I told myself at 18, I'm going to make a feature film by the time I'm 40. And I wanted to put out all of these little bands. Like, I had all this stuff that I want to do. And I realized that doing what I was doing, I was never going to do any of that stuff. So I think it's like 2 years now, maybe even a little more. I jumped ship from that to do villains and to, make movies and that kind of stuff. And I guess cut to like, that's why we made the music video that like we met on.
Yeah.
Kind of combined all of us, music and we also didn't have any sound equipment at the time.
Yeah, so we couldn't make, like, I was getting back big into film, but I couldn't make anything that had sound. So I was like, oh, let's make music videos.
Perfect.
There's a bunch of bands that...
Yes, I was like, I got a couple songs.
And I just wanted to do that, like, to get the wheels going, because I hadn't made anything film-wise in, like, nearly a decade. So it was like, I want to get those wheels rolling again, and... like submit to festivals, like learn how to do what I'm doing again and make a feature. Like that's been my goal for, and even now, like that's what I'm actively working on. Like that's kind of the goal now. So it went film, music, film, and I guess music isn't over. It's just kind of
that makes sense.
We're adults now, so
we're in our 30s.
Do what you want.
Like, yeah, exactly.
we don't have time to mess around.
We mess around a lot.
Yeah.
So with Villains, which is your record label, so was like Moans one of the first artists on it?
Not really, because I started it kind of a long time ago, and Moans wasn't really a thing.
Right.
I mean, Mo and I have never like lost contact. We were certainly like, we were both playing in bands, but we were in separate cities, and it wasn't like actually. Moans doesn't actually have a release yet. I think that I do a yearly compilation, and I think he's had
it's been I've had like 4 or 5.
Like 4 or 5 years he's done but he's had a track on there, but there's no like actual Moans release.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Moans came later is what I'm saying.
Sure, gotcha. Yes. So where did you start with the music videos?
Oh, Moans. Yeah. The music videos are super recent. Like, the whole transition back into film is like within the past year.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what was the first video that you did?
It was a Moans video. It was the song was called "Always on My Mind."
I saw that one on YouTube. Yeah, that one's really fun.
The space one.
Yeah, it was Mo's idea entirely.
Yeah. But we all, that was fun because we got everyone into a room that was part of the song and was like, hey, what should we do? I have this idea. Which was,
Well, he had found the spacesuits on Amazon.
Yeah.
So it's like, I want to buy these suits, and then what do you guys want to do?
Yeah.
And had I wanted the contrast between the female singers, Meredith Wielden and Kendra Hines. Sorry, Kendra. And I wanted, So I made them, the Femalians, villains. And then and then they took us one by one. But that was just a fun.
Yeah,
Sunset Cliffs was where we filmed it. And we did it in like 5 hours, and actually everyone had to work that day, or a lot of us did. I had to as well. So we had someone that had to leave at like 1 o'clock. So we started at 9 a.m. At Sunset Cliffs. We had a lot of onlookers too.
I bet.
Yeah, Sunset Cliffs is hard because so many shots, there's like someone in the back. It's supposed to look like whatever alien
No one
planet.
was sensitive to like, oh, you guys are doing this? Like,
right.
they would just like, like look and smile at us, and like they loved it, but it was like
yeah,
no, we're like
that's funny. I thought you guys like went out to the desert for that.
No.
Yeah.
Well, we were going to. Mo wanted to go to the Salton Sea. He's like,
Yeah.
we can
Oh,
go.
that would be perfect.
Yeah.
But then our buddy Michael Lakis, who's also in the video, he's also in Moans.
yeah.
He was like,
Lakis the Great.
we could go to Sunset Cliffs and just shoot away from the water, and it's exactly what you're looking for. And we drove down there, and we were like, oh, this is like 10 minutes away from the house as opposed to like
Right.
several hours. So that's what we did.
Huh. That's neat.
Yeah.
And then, and when did you record Body Type?
Body Type was like probably 2 different songs at one point.
Okay.
And I just kept like taking, because I was quickly progressing, because I was like recording music's pretty new, like past few years to me. So I kept taking things that I liked from it and kept building songs around there. Like Phil had an amazing guitar part on it. And
Phil is the guitar player. You see him in the videos.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
the soloist.
We also met him in the 7th grade.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, 8th grade actually.
Oh.
We met him in the 8th grade.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
So let's take a step back and tell us what Moans is.
Okay. Yes, that's a good. Moans is basically, for lack of a better term, a recording collective project that I'm at the reins of. Meaning I stay up late and stare at my computer for hours and hours. And then so I'm originally just a bass player. That's how I came
a
into
bass player.
that. Well, it's really easy, guys. It's 4 strings, no problem at all. And yeah, so I came into it just really wanting to make music without people, because we're like we said, we're trying to be adults. Like a lot of some of our friends have careers and stuff, so
We're kind of more trying to not be adults, is the way that I would put it.
Trying to come up with our own definition of what that means.
And so to me, the easiest thing to do was just make a recording project and not even concentrate on doing a live performance yet. Like the Beatles before, like we're doing the opposite of the Beatles. Just like recording.
Who?
Yeah. Rolling Stones. So eventually, after we released an album, which may come out in May.
Cool.
Music to dance and moan to.
Nice. I like it.
Basically, when I make something and I feel like someone would add something really great to it. Like there's like 3 guitar players. Here, let me just maybe try to go through the list here.
Sure.
So we have a
Violinist.
Yes, I knew this was gonna happen.
A fiddler.
Yeah, a fiddler. His name's Fiddle Jones. Jason Lakis. He plays guitar. So we have 3 guitar players, being him, Phillionaire, Philip McNitt, and
That's his thing too. Is everybody has names. Like
it's
I like it.
alter egos. Opie Tron is Opie. He's another guitar player. The main character and always on my mind. Mm-hmm. And then and then the ladies I mentioned earlier, and then Lakis the Great, who's pretty much the lead singer nowadays, which you all find out about that soon enough.
Sorry to cut in.
No.
He out of nowhere, this is maybe a week ago, he sent me a text message. This is Lakis. He's like, I covered one of your songs. I really want you to hear it. And I was like, sweet. And he emailed me, and he had just like out of nowhere, like he made this beautiful, like out of one of my like stupid, silly songs, like he made this beautiful, like finger picky, like
yeah, he's a very talented
gorgeous
guy.
song.
And
Wow.
he's
So
becoming
nice.
a very heavy hitter in the Moans scene.
Yeah.
So it's great to have him aboard. And
really talented dude.
yeah. And honestly, that's as small as it is. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people like one of the funniest things is like Michael Lakis and Opie hadn't met each other, and they had played on like 2 different songs together. And so that I felt like that was interesting to like have them meet when they were.
Because it's such a recording project.
Yeah.
You never have
Yeah.
to be in the same room
Sure.
with them, you know?
So but yeah.
Cool.
In a really long, drawn out. That's the basis of it. And
Gotcha. So
a lot of freedom.
Yeah. So you write the songs.
Yes.
Then.
I'm a bass player, program the drums, and keyboards.
Sure.
And then
Talk box.
I'm
Don't forget the talk box.
Cosmosis is the talk box
Nice.
entity.
And then, so do you have like parts in mind when you have these other musicians play on it, or do you just kind of send it out and be like, what do you want to add?
Well, like a little bit of both. Like Phil, I can go to him with anything, and then there's certain songs that I've made where I'm like, oh, like Opie would do something really well on this, and so it's almost like I just go into it, I'm almost blindfolded and just like feeling around, and then kind of something happens, and then it's almost like I'm very influenced by Parliament Funkadelic, and
nice.
that's you know basically two bands in one, but they kind of knew when they were making one like, oh, this is Funkadelic, and then I feel like that's kind of how I kind of feel it out. Like sometimes you just know like, oh, Jason Lakos would do amazing violin on this, so and so it's fun. Like and
for instance, Opie, who is like a big part of the band order, he's not on Body Type at all.
Yeah, so
which has been the big one. Like it was the last video.
yeah,
Like,
unfortunately,
but it's just that's the way it worked. Like not every song will be you know what I mean. It's just whatever. Like the most recent one, the one they put out on the last compilation, I think it's entirely Lakis and
it's just I did the music and came to Lakis with excuse me, and he just put the lyrics on and started singing, and so we just started recording it then and there.
So that's why I say it's just Mo. It's like Mo and whoever he wants to bring along for whatever song.
I'm like the Robert
Right.
Smith.
You sure? I like it.
It's gonna happen no matter what, but I need a lot of help though.
I love Joy Division.
All right.
All right, so with Body Type, so you're talking about the process for
Oh,
that.
yeah,
So
we
yeah,
should get
you
back to
just
that.
recorded that this last year.
Yes, and that's been my favorite song still that I've recorded, that was one of those ones that everything just worked out. Like
Yeah.
as soon as I started recording it, the final version.
Well, actually, it starts back before that.
Yeah.
I had the idea for the video. Okay.
Oh, the video idea
there
came
you go.
before the song. That's so cool.
Yeah, that's how we work.
I had the idea for a video.
Yes.
And I presented it to Mo. Okay, so we were at a wedding. I don't know. I guess like 2 years ago now, and just happenstance, there's this photo like at the after party at a hotel room of.
Be careful how you word this.
No.
I'm just kidding.
It's not like, but it's a bunch of people on a bed.
Yeah.
So we had all just like jumped in this bed in this like fancy hotel room.
Yeah, we're looking very.
Yeah,
fancy.
we're all like we were at a wedding, so it's like, and I just loved the photo so much. I still do. And I wanted to I was like, this should be your band photo. Like, there were no people in the photo that were in the band.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is like such the Moans aesthetic. Like, we should take this photo.
Yeah.
So we started talking about like renting a room just to take the photo. And we're like, well, if we're going to spend the money on the room, like, let's like
Yeah.
make a music video out of it.
Yeah.
And then the concept came to do it like in one take. And because we figured a hotel room's pretty small, so we could move around a lot. We just, like, the ideas started flowing.
RC was really pushing the one shot thing, and I didn't want to because I wanted to have fun.
Yeah, well, because the original concept was like, we'll just get all of our friends, everybody in the band.
We'll have a party in a
we'll have
hotel.
Party, everybody will be drinking, having
We'll just
fun.
film it.
And we'll film it.
And then edit it together.
But instead, I was like, no, let's like have it really choreographed and like have everybody working really hard.
Editing's very hard though too.
Yeah. So you
so it's
cut
like
out that
there's no-
step.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it took us 4 months to get the Always on My Mind editing done.
Yeah, it took a really long time just because other things, and it just took a really long time before it was done.
Yeah.
So we were like, let's do something where we don't have to do that.
We worked really hard to be lazier. Which is
Because it's fun to make something. It's not fun to sit in the computer. For me, anyway. It's like fun to be out there doing it.
yeah, we felt like we were performing. Because we really were, like, everyone was playing a role.
Yeah.
Like everybody, it's like as soon as you're not on camera, you have to be getting ready for the next shot, and also doing other things so that it moves. Like, okay, there's a keyboard sitting here in this shot; it can't be in the next shot, so somebody's got to grab it and move it, and then it's a whole.
We
big
all had
thing.
little jobs. Someone's job was to take my tie off And my pants, actually.
Because he's supposed to get naked and get in the bathtub.
Marianne took off my pants.
The big thing was he couldn't get his... he got a clip-on tie so it would be easy.
So basically, anyone that hasn't seen it, I guess,
Yeah.
I in a full tuxedo or full suit and tie. And at one point, I get into the bathroom or the bathtub. I get out of the suit into the bathtub, and then at one point, I'm back in. That was like the challenge that we had.
That was like, let's do something really hard. Let's make it so you have like that was the whole concept of him being in the bathtub. Like you have to be in this shot and then
idea.
Naked in the bathtub.
Right.
I mean, he wasn't gonna be naked, but you know.
Yeah.
I'm actually wearing my button-up shirt because the buttons.
He just couldn't. He couldn't do it in time. Like I was coming into the bathroom with the camera, and he had to do something.
That
so he
suit
jumped in.
is
That's why he's
actually
wearing
ruined now. I do not own that suit anymore.
But anyway, we're jumping too far ahead because we were talking about the song.
You're not in
Yeah.
charge of this, actually. This isn't your thing. This is what he does.
Well, we were talking about the song.
Yeah.
So I had the concept for the video, and then he was like, "I have a song that will work perfect."
No.
But I just
No. Remember, I showed you. I did have a song, but it wasn't body type. And then I showed you 3 songs, and
You're like, none of these are gonna work.
And you were like, that one is the one that works. And I was like, that one's the least amount done.
that's what it was. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So I liked body type the most, but it was like just a skeleton.
So we did. Yeah, we had 2 weeks to.
Because that's another thing. Meredith lives in San Francisco. So happenstance
She's the
where
first-
She was one of the singers?
Yes,
on
the first singer.
and where we were, and like you said, it's a recording project, so that usually doesn't really play a big role into it. Like when she's around, like her family lives here. When she's around, and he's here. So when she's around, it's easy to do. But like we had this video idea, and happenstance, she was going to be here in 2 weeks from then.
Oh.
So we're like,
You had to
let's
get it done.
in
Yeah.
2 weeks. So
We recorded her vocals like 2 days before we shot the video.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
and she didn't know the words, so they're written on the back of the slate, and she would like read them before.
she could have studied a little bit.
And on top of that, this is actually my favorite story from that night.
Oh.
So there's a lot of alcohol consumption in the video, but it was like iced tea shots. Like people are taking
Sure.
shots of like iced tea or water or whatever. It's all fake because we did it. I think the take you see is 19, and we did 24. Something like that. So it would have been like taking like 24 or more shots. So we obviously weren't going to do that. But like for production design, some of the liquor bottles were real. Like the ones in the front were fake. Sorry, I'm making noise with my teeth.
That's okay.
The ones in the front were real, but like the back ones the ones in the front were fake, so they could pour them. But
Okay.
the ones in the back were all
Got it.
real. Well, Meredith got a little bored doing so many takes, so she started pouring herself real shots.
Oh, no.
And
She's gonna love this.
we got like a perfect take, like more perfect. Because the one that we used, it was just our favorite. It's definitely flawed, like heavily, but like that's the nature of it, right? Like it's
Sure.
like stuff's gonna happen because it's like my biggest thing is there's a shot of Kendra where her like she's completely
Super
soft.
out of
It's like a
focus.
close up, and I got too close, so she's because I mean but that was just the way that it was, like.
The good outweighed the bad, so
Yeah.
we went with that one.
So I don't remember what I was saying. Oh, so we got this take that was really, really perfect. It was probably the best one that we did, but Meredith was getting a little drunk. She was just a little tipsy, and she didn't remember the words. So she's there, like close up on her, and she's mouthing like gibberish 'cause she doesn't know the words.
Pretty nerve wracking, and probably more that she didn't know the lyrics.
And
Meredith's my girlfriend, by the way. So
Oh, no.
Mo lost it. Like he didn't lose it. He didn't like throw anything.
getting into a bathtub in and out.
He was
and
he's all completely wet.
I don't know if you guys ever dressed in a wet, like getting dressed in something that's wet.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the most uncomfortable
That
thing. It would
sounds
take me like
awful.
15 minutes to do, and I would just be like, I think I said I hated all of you at one point. I hate all of
That's
you.
what I
And
was
we-
trying to figure out because
Yeah.
of the videos you get soaking wet. So
Yeah.
how would you record it again? I guess you're
That's
putting
what's
wet
very
clothes.
surprising is it doesn't look like I'm wearing a wet suit.
Yeah.
Like they looks fine, and like
But the bed that he jumps into the bed at the end of the video, like towards the end of the video, and that bed was completely soaked. I don't know what like the cleaning people thought happened in there, but it was like completely soaked.
That's
Probably
all
wasn't the worst they ever seen.
Very true.
But yeah, he got like that along with like we've done this at least like 15 times now or more. So like doing it over and over again and
I was
not
getting
very
frustrated.
He was like frustrated and like I guess it was kind of my bad. I was like that one was perfect except Meredith fucked it up. Oh, sorry.
It's the Wild West. Swear all you want.
Okay. Meredith messed it up. I shouldn't have said that or put it that way because he like grabbed her by the arms and he said, "Why can't you do this for me? Will you please just do this for me?" Like begging, like desperate. And it was my favorite moment of the whole thing.
But then we did go back when we watched all of them. The last one we did was way better.
Yeah.
So
but there were like little flaws, like you said. Like,
it all worked out.
Yeah.
I'm happy with it.
It's such a cool video.
Thanks.
So at this point, I'm going to pause. And so we're going to take a moment to listen to that track, Body Type by Moans. And we're back.
Oh,
Right.
That was great,
good
right?
song.
Yeah.
I haven't heard it in so long.
Great
It was
guitar
like-
solo. For sure.
And so who did you say did the guitar solo on that one?
Phil McNitt, aka the Beer Jesus. Is that okay to say?
Yeah, that's probably good. He's
Yeah.
he's like San Diego famous. We always say because he's the beer Jesus. He's like a big,
Modern Times Brewery.
Oh, okay.
People all the time will be like, I'll stop on the street and be like the one time we saw you guys and it was Mo, and we were like super stoked that someone was like, oh, you're the Moans guy. But usually we're out and somebody's like, oh, beer Jesus.
Yeah, he's the most famous of us.
Wow.
And yeah, like I said, he's like definitely one of the best guitar players I've ever seen, and it's great because we grew up playing together. And so me and him, I've always played bass. He's always played guitar, and he actually got me to play bass in like high school. Everyone starts out on guitar, and then he was like,
it's uncommon.
"Yes, right."
We were in it. Sorry to cut in. We were in like a punk band together, like early high school. Me and Mo, and
Yeah.
I played bass and he played guitar.
Oh,
Yes.
cool.
So
What was that
he
band called?
It was called Sharp Wit. And I
Nice.
might be able to dig up a recording at some point. I don't know.
Please
I don't know. It's like really.
I still know how to play it though. I'll never forget how to play it.
Yeah, the songs were super simple. But he would be like, I play guitar, you play an instrument nobody cares about. He would say stuff like that. You'd be like,
I don't remember that.
no, you would all the time. You would like put me down for playing bass. And then he'd be
I'm sorry I
playing-
did that. I did no recollection of that.
Yeah.
But that sounds like me because it's super funny.
Yeah.
So you started on bass, and so was
I
it?
started
yeah.
on guitar actually.
Oh, you started on guitar.
Yeah,
You did start on
the
guitar.
whole
Okay.
typical way actually. That's one thing I don't do is play guitar because I've known Phil for so long.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even need to. And now I know too many guitar players. I meet so many people that I want a part of something, and I'm like, "What do you do?" Like guitar. I'm like,
Yep.
I got 3, man. What do you want to do? Yeah, so I did start out playing guitar, and then I just wanted, like I said, I think I did have a notion, like I joke about it now, but that bass is easy. And that's what I wanted to do. Like, I was like, oh, I could just like rock out and play bass because it's so simple. And then once we had our first practice, I haven't played guitar again. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and then, so I feel like it's been my vehicle to kind of start songs and
Sure.
make the process.
I think bass gives you like a good foundation.
Yes,
though,
yes, and
actually.
I love.
Yeah.
There's a lot of producers that are bass players.
Really, that
yeah.
makes sense. Actually.
Yeah, because some of my favorite music is like early '80s, like disco funk, like Leon Silvers and like all the stuff he's done.
Yeah, I can
he-
definitely hear that in your music.
Yeah, and he would write lyrics and bass together, which no one else would do. Even like Paul McCartney would be like, "Oh, you don't do that."
right.
I tried. So I usually do start off with bass lines, and that's kind of how Body Type came as well. We had
hear that.
like guitar riff. I made that bass line, and then like the chord progression, like the Rhodes sound. And we just went from there. And I wanted to. I love Sly Stone, and every single person in his band in the Family Stone could sing, so they would take turns. And it's also a George Clinton Funkadelic thing where they all just take turns singing. And I just love that. So I wanted to not just have everyone sing the same thing, but like Meredith goes first. We have Kendra, Lakis the Great, and me, and then Cosmosis, Talkbox.
Nice. Yeah. It's
So
cool.
I was like, yeah,
And then at some point, I think I'm gonna have a
please
flow
don't.
verse. I'm
No, that's a terrible joke to bring up here.
Oh man.
She's not a rapper.
It says you.
Yeah. You got the rapper name already.
That's true.
Yeah.
You have a good rapper name.
RC.
Yeah.
You know me.
So does Moans play live shows? Have you guys had
That's
some live
that's
shows?
next on the list actually.
Cool.
I would love to release this album in May, and then just start going from
He
there.
does everything with the intention of.
Yes.
I mean, he's been doing it for years now and never played a show. But everything that he does, it's like I crafted it this way so we could do it this live, and he like has all the pieces
Yes.
there because he's played in live bands a lot. Like he knows what he's
Yes.
doing.
Yeah.
Just this particular project, so everything's like designed like.
Yeah. Sometimes I think a little too big as well. You know.
Yeah.
Just as a.
I
I need
can
to
understand
yeah.
that.
So does he. We're dreamers, you know.
Yeah.
We think big.
Yeah.
We dream.
Yeah. So when you do play live, like, what is your live setup gonna look like?
I would just play.
Like 12 people.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Like an 8 core. Because we have there's definitely a Moans formula that I've kind of constructed. Yeah.
Tell me about the Moans formula.
Well, I love, like I said, I love like 80s pop, like anything with a big beat. Like Janet Jackson comes to mind first, like Escapade. All of like Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, like The Time, to anything that Teddy.
Ran into Morris Day at the airport the other day.
I did, and he's like my favorite thing ever.
Wow.
The Time and Prince, huge influences on Moans.
Sure.
Michael Jackson, all that. So I love big beats. Try to make them as big as possible. Nice bass lines. I'm giving a lot of secrets away here.
It's fine.
I love stabs on the keyboard with some modulation on there.
Yeah.
Phil always has a lovely picking guitar riff. And then guitar solo as well. I love pop songs that have like a raging guitar solo, if you haven't noticed.
Oh, that's a great thing about... One of my favorite stories about Body Type is that 2 weeks where we recorded it. I say we, I had nothing to do with the song. But
You put it out.
Mo gave Phil this section, like at some point within this second mark to this second mark, we're going to do the solo. And it's like a minute and a half. Maybe not that long. It's really long.
Yeah.
He's like, some point in here will be the solo. And so he just filled up that area.
Phil wrote the guitar solo for the whole time.
Wow.
So the guitar solo is really long in that
It's
song.
an epic guitar solo for sure.
But it's like, it's the most musical thing on that song. So I was like, yeah, just do it. It goes through so many different motions. And like, I was like, we knew we were doing a music video for this. So I was like, yeah, this is like his big debut. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Although I really love like the guitar solo in
That's true.
in Always on My Mind, the first video. I really love we lugged a crane, like not like a huge crane, but like I have like a what is it, like 12 or 14 foot jib, and we'd like lugged it up Sunset Cliff, so it was like pain in the ass to get up
and
there.
down and all around.
Yeah, it was like really hard to get there, but like it was so worth it for those like he's like on the edge, like playing guitar in the sun.
Yeah.
It's like it's really cheesy in like the best way.
Yeah, that's what that whole video is.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen the ending of that.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, I love it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So are you planning to do any videos for any of the other artists on Villains?
Yeah.
Yeah, we started taking on like a lot of ideas for being like, oh, we should just do music videos for all of our friends and all
this
of
could
our
be
artists.
This could be a video. Like I kind of have this idea for a video, or this band wants a video. It's just like finding the time to do it.
Sure.
Yeah, we haven't quite gotten there yet, but we would love to.
Yeah, I would love to make music videos. Right now, I'm really big in feature mode. Like, I want to make a feature by July 1st is my, the deadline for production.
It's very official now.
Yeah.
Now I've said it in here.
Right?
Reason being, though, I've just cast a pregnant person.
Uh-huh.
So, like, it has to be shot before the baby comes. So that's my timeline. So I've been full force that.
Yeah. So tell me about that. What is the feature?
Okay, so 2000 I told you like I quit my job and all this stuff to make a movie. Like that was the goal. It was eventually I'm going to make a movie. Because to backtrack even more, when I was in school, which was a long time ago, you couldn't just make a movie, right? Like you had to find somebody to give you a bunch of money to put something together that cost
like over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Show your age.
You don't have to.
20, 30, 40 years ago.
So my student short was one of the cheaper ones in my class, and it was $6,000. I think it was the second cheapest one. And it was $6,000, and we shot it HD, which was the big thing at the time, like HD. Because you didn't have to shoot film. You could buy they were tapes like this. They were like giant tapes, and they were like $80 or $100 a piece. It was expensive to shoot. It was just cheaper than film. So no matter what you did, you were going to spend a lot of money on whatever you were doing, and that's how things work. That's why I said like I got more into music because it was more immediate. We could just do it. You just get in the garage and do it. So back then it was like I want to do that by the time I'm 40. And at the time I'm 18, 19 years old. 40 is forever away. I don't need to worry about that now. Cut to. I could do whatever I want.
Now you're really worried.
Now I'm really worried. Cut to, more recently, it's you can go into Best Buy and essentially buy everything you need to make a movie. Like, you don't need... You can just do it on your own. Like, now more than ever, with everything. Like, right now we're making a podcast.
Yeah.
Like, we're in your studio, but it's your bedroom, right?
Yes.
Like,
Moans is the exact same way.
Like,
Living
how
room,
awesome is that when
bedroom.
you really think about it, though?
I know,
like, there was a time when you couldn't do that. You couldn't just have this in your bedroom.
That's true.
So it's that's where we are now with technology. I could just buy everything that I need and probably spend less money than my goal is to spend less than $6,000 that I spent on my short.
Low budget, no budget.
Low budget, no budget. And just ask favors, just do it as
What are you, the mob?
small as I can. And just do it. Not wait until I'm 40, do it right now, like I'm way younger than 40 right now. So.
Way younger.
So much younger.
So speaking of budgets, I'm curious if you don't mind sharing, like, how much did it cost to make the videos for Moans?
The first one, I don't think we really... it was all equipment that I already had.
Okay.
Because I've been slowly building for the feature. Like, the point of the music videos was to get to the feature. Like, everything.
Sure.
Like, even submitting to festivals, like me submitting to you, well, the point was to not be completely green when we got to the feature. So that was the whole concept of everything. Yeah. So, like, I had already been, like, starting to acquire equipment, and I don't even remember. I just found how much money did we spend on it?
Yeah. We're always on my mind.
So we had, I don't think we spent anything because, he spent money on the suits.
Okay, sure.
Actually,
costumes, sure.
Mom bought a couple of them too. Thank you.
So
Thank
other
you, Mom.
than wardrobe, I don't think that there was anything, because like I said, I already had all the equipment. So
we're makeshift people. Especially this guy. We love figuring it out.
Yeah, but it's great because it's DIY and it's makeshift, but it looks professional, and that's the day and age that we live in.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what we. Yeah.
And then body type, we needed the room.
Sure.
And we wanted the room to be kind of nice, so I think we didn't.
No more details about that, though.
I guess we shouldn't tell you where it was or anything.
No.
Although, if they see it, they'll know.
There's a good story there.
There's a good story there. We can tell it as long as we don't say the name, right?
I guess so.
So
now we have to hear it.
Okay,
you're right.
To finish the last topic,
Sure.
I think we spent $170 on the room. And
I think my mom also got that.
Oh, thanks, Mom.
She's very supportive.
Yeah.
She always has been. All of us.
Yeah, she used to drive us to shows like like Valley Center. I don't know if you know where it is, but his mom would drive.
She would drive us to the scene in Claremont.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like an hour drive just to, and then sit there while we're in the show. Like, both of our moms were really like supportive with music stuff growing up. Anyway, I think that's all we spent was the money for the room. But the room I chose because I liked that turquoise wall, if you remember the room a little bit.
Aesthetic.
Like, I just really thought that was a really good looking room. And I think that he said, because, before he knew his mom was going to pay for it, he was going to pay for it. He's like, I'll get the room. And he gave me a budget of like $250. He's like, you can spend $250 on the room. And I got a bunch of rooms, like a bunch of just looking online on like TripAdvisor, whatever, not Fandango, that's movies, whatever. One of those websites.
Sure.
Like, I got a bunch of them. And I found that one, and I loved that turquoise wall. I was like, this is our room. This is the one.
It looked a lot bigger as well.
And it looked kind of big on... It turned out to be pretty small. But anyway, he was like, yeah, let's go for it. It's cheaper. It's less money than I wanted to spend. You like the room, let's do it. When we got there, it was just based off of that photo of the room, of that turquoise wall.
We actually, we wrote the whole concept, small snippet. We wrote the whole concept looking at hotel hotel room pictures.
Yeah, like
Oh, okay.
there's common things in hotel rooms, you know, like
Sure.
like the mini fridge, and there's usually like a little desk with a lamp and two chairs. Like it's all designed around that, like what you commonly
We would
see.
literally have like a picture of a common room. It'd be like, okay, well then they can enter here, and then we can have that here.
Yeah.
And it was very,
Yeah, it was like we mapped everything out. We had like pages of
we
like,
did.
It was pretty thorough, that part of it.
Yeah.
But so we get there, and we're expecting it to be kind of a big hotel where we're just not even going to be thought about because we're on, you know, the umpteenth floor, and you know what I mean? Like we imagine it being a big hotel. It was the smallest little, like, you know, like a parking lot, like a motel. Like it was a nice hotel, but
it was like a hotel and motel form. Like,
Oh,
as soon as you opened the
yeah.
door, it was beautiful, but
on the outside it was
Sure.
like in a parking lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not
right.
a building. It's
like you weren't opening up to a hallway, but like
No.
to like the
and then the office was right there.
and
as
the
well.
office was right there. And as soon as we got there, he was like, so everybody that's on
registered.
the only people you can't bring
You can't have guests.
anybody.
Can't
And we
have
had, like, a
guests.
lot of
Yeah,
people.
we had 14 people coming.
And like instruments and all this stuff. So we thought quick, and we were like, oh, we're in a band and we don't want to leave the stuff in the
true.
car.
It's true.
Yeah, it's true. Can we load all the equipment into the room? And he was like, yeah, sure, no problem. That doesn't matter at all.
We
like,
talked to him several times about
we took all the stuff in there without him saying anything. But then Mo was like, you know, like we're from out of town, like we're here.
it was lies.
We have a lot of friends coming to this, and everybody's meeting here, and we don't have another place to. We didn't know that you didn't. And like I was like, okay, how many people? And Mo was like 5 or 6,
And I was
we had
lying
14
heavily still. I was a great salesman that day.
He's like, okay, not a big deal.
Yeah.
And then just the people started coming. I think that he called a couple. We had like extras, like in our head. There were like
I did have
people that were just there that weren't like.
There
in
was
the
about
action.
4 people that I had to unfortunately disinvite because of this situation.
Yeah. So like it
It
got
was very
smaller
stressful.
really
like
quick.
we had been playing this for a really solid, like heavy 2 weeks.
It just was a curveball. We didn't think about going there to see what it looked like. We just assumed that it was.
Yeah.
You know. But the dude. I mean, I think he knocked on the door one time and told us to keep it down, but he didn't say anything about the, dozen people or whatever that were in the room, and didn't.
Wow.
It was,
Nice.
I guess someone complained next door. Then the next day when we were checking out said they were gonna write a bad review, like he was punishing me, and I was like, how the hell do you know that they're gonna
Right.
write a bad review?
A review on
Because-
they were gonna like
the
Yelp
hotel.
on,
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I was like, well, you might have 2 bad reviews if you keep talking to me like that.
Yeah.
I didn't say that at all. No. I thought about it, but yeah. So that was like I have some water here if you want.
Well, no, I don't want to drink.
You're sick.
Yeah. I just felt like I was gonna cough, so
Sure.
I'm avoiding that. I don't want to like be coughing into.
Yeah. I
But so-
appreciate that.
That was the biggest obstacle.
Okay, the
Was-
only expense, yeah.
Yes, because like you said, like we have a bunch of equipment, and just little things like I think about my tie and vest and
Sure.
It didn't
all
cost
that
more than
stuff.
$200 to
No.
answer the
It's
original
awesome.
question.
It's awesome.
yeah, and when we went to the Extravaganza, it was like some people spent some serious money,
Yeah.
and we were just like, wow, like that's beautiful, and we're just like, here we are.
And then you won.
Yeah, then we won. Look at that.
I think that we had the most friends in the room. I think that's why we won. I don't know if it was.
There are a lot of fans
Yeah,
have
that's
friends
true.
that they brought.
We're
Don't
like
sell yourself
we're
short.
just always going to be a big gang no matter what.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for the shows.
Yeah.
Um,
It's great. And then so going back to you were talking about your feature.
Oh yeah.
So
okay.
you have
sorry
you've
if
kind
we
of
jumped too much.
No, this is great. So it sounds like you've been kind of accumulating equipment and stuff that you need
Yes.
to like all with this big goal in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2017, my goal, like at the beginning of the year, I'm not like a resolution guy, but at the beginning of the year, I was like, at the end of this year, I want to have written this. Like, I want to spend this year writing this movie. So I did that. I'm actually not completely done, and we're like well into 18, but the first couple drafts were done. So by the end of the year, I had like, this is what I'm gonna make. So then 2018 became like, this is the year that I make the movie. And then the whole, pregnancy thing happened. So, okay, we have half of this year.
Okay.
So everything within the past little bit has become like, okay, it's quick. But
So you're filming it now? Then?
No.
Okay.
So my plan
still
now
having,
is to be, like I
coffee
said,
shop meetings.
I'm still drafting.
I know nothing about what goes into making a movie.
Neither do we. Just kidding.
So I'm still drafting. My goal for this month, March, is to lock it, finish drafting, and say this is the shooting script, and have found all of the locations and then all of the completely cast everything. So if I can finish that this month, which is like that's not easy. That's like a lot.
Sounds like
to
a
do.
lot. Yeah.
But I have a lot of everything's kind of in mind already. Like I kind of know it's just a matter of like sending emails, making phone calls. And Mo, I mean, we've made movies together since we were, 13, 14 years old. So he's going to be a big part of it. And he, the two of us just emailing people, calling people, I think we can get it done.
Nice.
And then the next, and I can't, the big thing is, right, so like I'm going to need like maybe like 12, 14 days to shoot it.
That sounds fast.
I can't. Yeah, it's about. I mean, for the level that it is, that's about.
Okay.
But I can't. I'm not paying anybody, so I can't like have people dedicate that amount of time.
Right.
So it's just like weekend here, weekend there. So I want to leave 3 months. That's why I want to be done by April. So I have April, May, June. Oh. So that's 4 months.
Oh, you got 4 months.
So like I got. So that can, if that bleeds into April, I still have 3 months to find those 12 or 14 days. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
So
We rely heavily on our talented friends to help us out with things.
yeah, and
That's great.
it'll just be a lot of like scheduling and
Sure.
when we can do this, when we can do that. And I'd like to also, I mean, I'm intentionally so using. Some of them have acting experience because of like me and stuff, but I'm using friends more than actors,
Sure. Yeah.
Because one thing about like being in film school, like when I was in film school, I hated like actors, like when you see a short film, there's like an actor acting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard to. So if I feel like I cast people that like already know each other, like maybe this couple's a couple in real life, that like there's going to be dynamics that you're not going to necessarily get if you have actors.
Sure.
It's quotes.
Yeah.
Quotes.
Yeah.
Because
Where something natural might happen.
yeah, something natural might.
Even if they're not like experienced, where like, oh, like this is my wife. So
Right.
I might say something.
I feel like
natural.
that'll be better than like having actors. So
Sure.
So a lot of the people that I've asked have been like kind of uncomfortable with it. Not uncomfortable, but like
Probably just because you're asking them something.
reasonably so hesitant. You know what I'm saying? So I would like to have a bunch of time to just rehearse. Like
Sure.
let's read this through together and figure out what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because I don't really know either. I mean, it's all just figuring it out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
We're all in this together.
Yeah. So, Mo, what's your involvement in the movie?
I guess a really loose title would be producer.
Cool.
yeah, totally.
And
That'll be his
sound.
title.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna record sound.
Yeah. Are you gonna?
I've done before.
Are you gonna use music from any of the?
We got a lot.
You got a
yeah,
lot of
to
music
choose
to choose from.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Like there's a certain tone to it that is going to be achieved. Like I have a lot of, like getting music for free is not going to be like an issue for me.
Yeah.
But
label.
specifically like tonally, I have a lot of stuff that works really, really well. I don't know, like that. I think a lot of the tone of the movie will come from like villains. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, a lot of great San Diego musicians to help us out.
Yeah, yeah. So let's switch gears a little bit. I want to hear more about villains.
Okay.
Yeah. So you talked a little bit about the history of that. So what does it look like now? Like, who do you have on? Like, what does Villains do? Like, are you like a traditional kind of label, or what? Tell me about it.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I guess at one point in time I had like grand ideas of it being like a label, like a Sub Pop or like a Saddle Creek, like one of these labels that's like just started off DIY but became this like label. That's kind of what I wanted to do, way back when.
Don't ever stop or say.
Well, no, it's not. It's not that. I mean, that if
Yeah,
like
of
that's,
course.
I don't have anything against that. Like, it's not completely unobtainable. But my idea of where I want it to be kind of changed because I worked on like bigger things, right? Like I worked on some pretty big albums,
Right.
and I just got in my head like this is not what I want. Like it's not what's cool about it to me is like these big albums. Like what's cool about it to me, like nowadays, mostly everything is on cassette. I know that's a little, but it's all like small run. It's like I would rather do these things that are like maybe reissues from bands that I loved, like, a few years ago when I couldn't put something out, or like the smaller version of the bigger album that's coming in. You know what I mean? Like I would rather be the little DIY guy that just has this like, okay. So the way that I see the record industry going, that's such a like stupid way to start a sentence, but the way that I see the record industry going, like we were talking about, like making this podcast, how you can just do it.
Yeah.
Like the role of a record label is less and less,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
not really necessary. But where I think there's a lot of value in it is the like camaraderie aspect of it. The like, so like I'm one, but like together we're two. That's Batman. you're only one guy. Now we're two. But you know what I mean?
Phil was
Like,
worried about you quoting movies too much.
you know what I mean? Like now we're two people, and then you're here. Now we're three people. Now we
Right.
can, like a group of bands seems stronger to me than one band. So rather than doing it on, that's the role I see a record label having.
Yeah.
I think of it more as a family of people. Like I've known him since the 7th grade,
Yeah.
and so I'm putting out his music. There's other people that I've known just
For a
as
long
long,
time, yeah.
and or maybe less, maybe a lot less, but I still feel this connection to them beyond just, oh, you're a band on my label. I think of it as like a family.
Yeah.
That's kind of the goal. So if I can just do the like small version of this, and maybe I have, like right now my main focus is the movie. Like I want to make a movie. Like if we go back to when I'm a little kid, I want to be a filmmaker. I don't want to be like, I don't want to have a record label. Like that's my dream. But if I can like do cool shit with my friends while we're doing it, like that's all I could ever ask the label to be. Like that's what I want it to be,
Yeah.
Sure.
Just and I like, you can't see because this is audio, but Mo's wearing a villain shirt right now. It's just like
Yeah.
I like the idea of it being like this like badge of honor or something. Like it's like, I don't know. That might sound really cheesy,
No,
but like
I
I like
like
the idea of
it.
it being
Yeah.
like you proud of it, not because it gets you anything, but because you're involved in something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally get it. As I think as it gets easier for people to make music on their own and also easier to access music on your own, it's almost like we lose that sense of community in some ways. And
yeah.
like that's I feel like that's still something that's needed, even though we don't need a record label to put out our music or to, maintain the rights, the copyrights, to all our music and take all our money.
Exactly. You can,
I don't need any of that crap, but it's that community.
And that's another thing too. Villains is all we just split the product. So like if I put out like a tape, you take half and I'll take half, and then that's it.
Nice.
There's no
About a 10%. This is
just the product though. You know what I mean? That's not.
I didn't
Sure.
sign anything, so
Yeah.
But so it's like very.
I feel like I don't know if we've even discussed this, but I feel like almost Villains will, like the artists will kind of almost take the direction of where it's going. Like even though you're like looking at this movie, like I feel like you don't always, you're the forefront of it, but that may not be how it is in the future. We're trying to get you out.
Oh, so you're saying that like it exists beyond me? Like I
Yeah,
don't-
no, I mean, isn't that what you want though?
Yeah, totally.
And I could totally see that happening. I don't know. You would react this way, yeah.
Discussion here.
No, I
you're
understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, the thesis of it is I just
Edit that part
want to put out records with my friends. Like that's
Yeah.
the whole idea of it.
So you have this. Do you do an annual compilation?
On Valentine's Day, I do a Valentine's Day compilation every year.
Cool. What's it called?
Valentine's.
Nice.
Very clever.
I like it. And do you release that? You release that on tapes? Do you
Yeah.
also digitally?
Also digitally. When I started doing villains, everything was like handmade, basically CDRs, but like screen printed and then screen printed packaging.
CDRs, yeah.
So yeah, it was like super DIY, and then it evolved into tapes.
And CDs.
Well, yeah, CDs like, but if we do CDs now, it'll be more. I kind of feel like.
Oh, you said CDR. Sorry.
Yeah. I feel like we're in a like people want. What's cool about cassettes is it's much cheaper to produce and it's much cheaper for the consumer to like get a cassette and you get to hold something than like an album.
Tangible.
So like a vinyl record is hard for the label to do. Like I've been doing villains for a long time. I've done 1 7-inch. Like vinyl's really hard to do.
Yeah.
If you're doing it like on my little scale, you know, like I don't want to put a bunch of money into it, you know.
For sure. And CDs suck.
They do.
CDs suck.
Yeah.
Like CDs.
New cars and laptops and
It's
they're
also
out.
Yeah.
CDs.
Such a pain.
CDs is like it's digital too, right? Like a tape is still analog. Like there's something in there. It's like much closer related to a record than a CD is. Like to me, a CD is just I don't know. It's basically the early version of an MP3. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Whereas like a cassette, it's heavy. Not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can hold it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm planning on re-releasing the Beta Lion album, Written in Sand, and I think I sent you a track from that.
Cool.
That's going to be the next thing Villains does, so we could play that. We could play a
Awesome.
track
So
from that.
I'll take a break here and play that track.
She's chasing a dream, and though it's fleeting,
And we're back. That was a great track.
Yeah.
Yes, I really love that track.
Yeah. Great drums, especially.
All right. So what has been your experience with San Diego music and the music scene here, especially as people who grew up here?
Yeah.
Yeah, we grew up listening, like we grew up together discovering music, and specifically San Diego music.
Yeah. What's funny is we know a lot of those guys now.
Yeah, a
As
lot of guys that we
acquaintances and
grew up
friends.
like idolizing are,
Yeah.
you know, it's just a dude around town now. Like,
Sure.
Yeah.
but we got big into like, well, the first thing that we got big into together was Cheap Trick.
That's true.
We got big into
Yeah.
like classic rock, like Cheap Trick and that kind of thing.
I still love strings and stuff in my
Yeah.
music, so it might be Cheap Trick and
Sure.
The Cure.
And then
Deep down.
I think there's with a lot of people, like pretty common, the natural trajectory is to go to like punk. Because especially like when we grew up, that's like what's available. Like
Yeah.
the subculture or whatever is punk.
And we
So-
were skaters too.
And we,
so
yeah,
then
we,
Sure.
like we rode
Natural,
skateboards.
yeah.
So we kind of got into punk
but we were
based off of that.
we were too like nice though. We weren't really
Yeah,
punks.
We would like go to punk shows and kind of feel uncomfortable.
Like
and-
getting hit in the face kind of sucks no matter what.
Yeah, not like kids would beat us up, just like in the pit. you
In
know?
the pit, yeah.
It just like we were not punks is the thing, but that's
We
what
love
we
the
thought. Like
music.
we were like getting into music, and that's what we wanted to do. And prior to this, though, Mo's brother had given him
No Knife, Hitman Dreams.
was it Hitman Dreams?
Yeah.
So a No Knife record.
Is that a San Diego?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the best San Diego band.
Oh, really?
We like it a lot.
And this is probably in the 8th grade,
Yeah.
something like that.
And that was and they having local music was crazy to us. Like, oh, this is made here.
Yeah, it was like we can go see this like this incredible, but like this something that we just heard and it's amazing. Like
Yeah.
this is
We were pretty blown away.
just in itself is amazing music because we didn't like. I don't know. Our experience, like I said, was limited. It's like Cheap Trick and then like punk rock. So
Sure.
so like discovering this like intricate, beautiful music was a like complete window opener. And then the door flew open when we discovered like this is a San Diego band and we can go right now. Like we can go on Friday night and they're playing at, you know, the Scene or
yeah, I think the first show was they opened for Rocket in the Crypt.
yeah. So we went, the first like indie rock show we saw was Rocket from the Crypt and No Nut. Like how amazing is that
Nice.
for like a San Diego kid? Like, I don't know.
I see him at bars now.
But it's just like, it like,
Just kidding.
for me anyway, like blew up everything. It's like, that is so awesome. That, like, and it really led to like Villains and everything. Like that's,
Seeing it on a like happening on a small scale because like we went to a big concert to see Cheap Trick, and then realized that we could go see shows.
like
in our-
just being able to go to a show,
Yeah.
like a local show was like a huge thing.
Yeah.
And to us, they were like the most real bands, you know, like it wasn't like, I don't know.
And
It wasn't,
kind of just grew from there.
It sounds like you had a good experience with the music scene growing up here. Because I hear, like, from some people, it's like, oh, you're so close to LA. All the good bands just go up to LA. Yeah.
well, that's the thing too, is,
I think we
I mean-
saw things on a pretty small scale as well.
yeah, at the time when we were young, yeah, that's like
Yeah.
all we need. Like it being here was, I mean, like there's a lot of other cities where it's not like that. Like San Diego music has a really rich history and like
Yeah.
the scene is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
We just happened to grow up here, you know, like we didn't
Yeah.
know that was going to happen.
And this is like early, like 2000s. Like
yeah,
early
early
2000s.
it's like pretty heavy
Yeah.
at this point, like pretty
like
pretty
going to
pretty big
shows at Gelato Vera.
at Gelato Vera. I
Yeah.
don't think they have shows there anymore. Like
Yeah.
it's still there, but they don't have. They had this like upstairs area that
Yeah.
had. It just like it was a perfect place to grow up, like for like to incubator for us, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, based off of what you said, I was in an LA band because I went there for school and like played music there. And it was totally, and I do hear that, like,
Yeah.
you got to go to LA or like that's where stuff is happening. But it's not at all. The thing about LA, and I don't mean to
Big
like,
statement there. When's the last time you've been there?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there now. Don't. But my experience there, it wasn't. There's so many bands and so much to do that there was no that camaraderie thing that I'm always looking for. The communal aspect of it didn't really, in my experience, didn't really exist. It was like as a band, you'd play with, a country band, like a guy with an acoustic guitar, and then like a metal band. And, just like this bill thrown together. Right. And there was like, everybody's always asking you to pay to play. Like, it's not,
I hate
it
that.
just, it didn't feel like a scene to me. It didn't feel like this is a scene. Especially when, like I said, I had grown up here when it's very communal, So that's always been my reaction when people say like, LA's right there, so that's where you need to be.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the same...
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar is not doing he's not doing a whole lot these days.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's less of a music scene, like a community.
Right.
I think here we were a small pond, and we're a very small pond now. So I think we do have to stick together.
Yeah.
And I think that, and I haven't spent much time in LA, but I think in any major city, it's almost like everyone there is more focused on the national market.
Yeah.
And in smaller cities, it is about the people who are there in the
going
city
to
with
shows,
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like getting people together. That's what we want to do.
Cool. So I guess we should we should wrap this thing up.
I guess
but
it looks like it's naturally going
I
that way.
I
sure.
would keep going. I would do this all
Oh,
day.
I know you would.
We know.
But
Get him started.
So I encourage you all to check out Villains Records and Moans. If you haven't seen their music videos, they're really cool, and it's a bunch of really cool artists on Villains. So thanks both for coming out.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure thing.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks.
Man, that was fun. Wasn't that great? Those guys are great. So I hope you enjoyed. And thanks again for listening to episode number 2 of the Sunshine Sound podcast. So please subscribe if you liked what you heard. Feel free to shoot me an email if you have any questions or feedback or know anyone you'd love for me to interview. I'm at Christine with a C at sunshinesoundcenter.org. So thanks again. And once again, thanks to Tommy Bobcat for help with the setup and the audio engineering stuff, and also for providing that awesome theme music. So I'll talk to you again soon, and have a beautiful day.